What's up, guys? I'm going to keep this brief. I'm not really playing Val much anymore, but I don't mind making content for it. I do like talking about the game, so I am starting up a new series where I basically just go through every map in the game and talk about the best positions on every site and how to hold every site. And that's just going to be like a long-running series, and I'll probably throw in more coaching with that. So with that being said, the coaching channel that I initially made with the VODs, that is just going to be this channel pretty much. I'm just going to go over coaching and whatnot. I'm going to turn that channel into kind of a passion project where I upload Counter-Strike content. So if you want to see Counter-Strike content and kind of like old XTR where I'm making like highlight reels and whatnot, that channel is where you're going to want to go to see those kind of videos. So if you like those kind of videos for me, make sure to subscribe to that channel. I want to see if I can get that channel up off the ground and see how it does with Counter-Strike content, as that's what I've really been enjoying lately. But with that being said, let's get started with today's video. Hello, friends. So we're here on Split B site. Split B site is easily one of my favorite positions to play with Phoenix, okay? Now, this video is kind of for every agent, but I am a Phoenix player, so a lot of things that I will be going over will be Phoenix specific, but just know that with every agent, you can kind of play the same way for the most part by just calling for flashes, calling for smokes, but I won't be going over like Cypher or Sentinel util setups and whatnot in depth, okay? But this will be a pretty in-depth way to kind of just secure and lock down the B site. We will be including Heaven, we will be including Male, and we will be including Mid a little bit as well, but not nearly as much Mid. Mainly just Male and all of this. But we're going to go over plays and everything you're going to want to know and specific ways you can kind of play around the map in general. So we're going to start down here on B site. Now, there are a few ways to play this, but I prefer not to play on the actual site itself. Usually, what will happen is I will have another teammate here, and I will be the Male player if I'm playing Phoenix, as well as I will have a Sage generally, okay? Now, if there's no mid presence, usually, then I will let Sage do her thing, and this is where playing the actual B site kind of comes in, as well as if there's presence towards B, then you will kind of rotate here and play it with your teammate and kind of play around this side of the map and whatnot. So starting off, we're going to go over the aggro play you can make. There are a few aggro plays, and aggro plays are good for the main reason of you are denying this neutral zone from the enemy team. They cannot have this. If you get 1 or 2 picks here early on, you secure this area, and usually your teammate will leave you here alone to kind of just hold this down while they go and kind of like pressure mid and whatnot, because most of the players will be towards mid at this point. Usually when you get a pick or 2 here, they aren't going to come and try and re-clear you, but it will happen occasionally. So if you suspect that they might try and re-clear if their presence mid, then you're going to want to have your teammate stay with you and fight with you. Especially if you get spiked down, that's when you're going to want to have most of your team rotate over and kind of fight for this area with you and just hold on to this area, because it's very hard for the enemy team to kind of come back into here and re-clear it once you already have this control. So when barriers go down, you're going to want to flash around the corner and take a fight here. If you get a kill, it'd be a good idea to molly this and then make the snap decision to either push further in with another flash and kind of try and find another pick, or just sit here and hold on to this neutral zone so the enemy cannot have it. You can set up a crossfire like this with your teammate, so that way if you get cleared here or they send a Skydog in, you can get hit by the Skydog, or your teammate can break it and he can fight with you and kind of help you out here. If you are stuck in this position, you can tell your teammate that you were going to flash around the corner, and then you can both fight together from this crossfire position, and that works out very, very well. I don't recommend playing this box very often, because as you can see, you are exposed to this angle, and people can kind of peek from over here as well. So it's not the best. If you already have this position, playing around here with a teammate is very, very strong, or they can play at this box. Now, moving on from here, we have this top box position, and unless you have some way to get out of this position, it's not good. It's not very good at all. Unless you have a crossfire set up with a teammate, that's the only time I'd recommend this. It's very strong on like eco rounds and whatnot, if you have like a judge or something and your teammate has something here. But the only stipulation about this position is you need some way to get out if it's not like an eco round and you're just trying to make a really risky play. And you have to have Heaven control. If you don't have Heaven control, this is a very, very dangerous position to play. Okay, just keep that in mind. Now we have Hell. Hell is a pretty good position, but they will util dump you pretty hard, and this is one of the areas they clear pretty frequently. But this is pretty good when you're playing Phoenix. It's just a little hard to kind of like fight around this corner without falling off this. I've noticed a lot of the times when I try and fight around this, like I'll end up falling off because I swing a little too wide. But if you don't have that issue like I do for some reason, then yeah, like that's fine. You can play in that position. It's pretty good. This is my preferred position. But usually what I will do is I will take some fights here. And if I don't end up dying, right, like I'll be flashing around this corner, I'll fight. If I get a pick, then I will instantly leave and go to this angle over here. Usually I'll walk to this angle, and then once they start coming out, if they start coming out, you can flash around this box, take another fight, and then just keep doing the same thing over and over. And generally, they don't expect it. It's really strong to do it this way. Just getting a pick or showing presence in one position, then moving to another, flashing around and getting a kill is golden. A lot of times, enemy players, Immortal, Radiant, they do not expect you to do that, which is very surprising, right? The only thing you have to be concerned about is if they have a Sage Wall, then you're going to have to break that sometimes to get any presence or anything done from that position. But generally, even if they have a Sage Wall, you will catch like one straggler that goes over the Sage Wall and kind of just starts to push out this side with flashes and whatnot. So it's pretty good to catch that one player off or just catch them off as they're coming into the site. Now, if you see more than one person here, or you suspect that there's more than one person here, call for a smoke. It's very important that you call for a smoke. Get that smoked off so you don't have to even run into the risk of getting a kill. Because if they get a pick on this side of the map, the thing with split is if you give the T side the advantage, it's very hard for you to kind of fill the gaps that you need. This is what I see a lot of teams struggling with, is they will just give a free pick by like peeking something like this. And once they go down, it's very hard because if you look at the map, usually what you're going to want to have is 2 up here, 1 up here. And then maybe somebody invents with a trip here and somebody anchoring on A site. But then once you lose that one player, look at what the setup's going to be. It's going to be like 1 here, maybe 1 here, 1 here. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot harder to kind of fill in the gaps once you lose that player. That's with every map, but split in specific, it's very, very difficult once you lose that defending player. So try not to give them any free opening picks. If you see a person here and you're shouldering it and whatnot, just call for a smoke, maybe fall to this position so they don't expect you nearly as much. And you can kind of just play around here in a much safer position. Now this back box here, this box is a little bit dangerous to play, to say the least. If they have a raise, then it's very dangerous, especially if they have an Astra, because they can kind of suck and then nade you out. And it's a whole mess, right? Like this position's okay. I almost never play this position though. You can play it if you want to, right? I don't really recommend it. If you have certain setups you like to do, certain ways you like to run this side of the map, then I can see it being okay. And also if you have a way to get out like a jet dash, then it can be okay. But if you're a character like Phoenix, where the only thing you really have is the wall, it's a bit harder to get out of here. So if you don't have any escape route, then I wouldn't really recommend playing this position, as it can be quite dangerous. But if you have a player sitting here and you want to crossfire with him, or a player sitting on site and you do have some form of escape route, if they have like someone right here, right? If you have some form of like jet dash, Reyna dismiss, Ray satchels and whatnot, this can be a very strong position if played right. Now let's talk about going up to rafters, because rafters is also a very strong position. The only thing you really have to worry about is flashes from this position, right? You don't have to worry about getting util dumped. All you have to worry about is flashes and like Raze ult. Those are 2 of the big ones that you have to worry about. Usually when Raze ults and I'm stuck out in this position, I'll just drop down to this position as quiet as I can and kind of just hide around this box, wait for Raze ult to expire. And if nobody pushes me by this time, I'll flash and start re-clearing this side of the map. Or they'll already be on site anyway, so I can flash and go for some fights here. If I end up getting a kill here, then I can kind of move around to this angle, and I can flash back around this box. Or if I don't see anybody on first shoulder, then I can move up here, flash, clear that, and then fight there. That's how I usually like to play if there's a Raze ult or anything that can kill you when you're up on. If you only have to worry about flashes, then playing up in this position can be pretty strong for the most part. If you like shoot a Reyna flash, you get a kill. Usually once you get 1 kill, you don't really want to stick around here, because at this point, they're already going to be up to this box. And if you're worried about this box, they can peek you from a new box as well. So I wouldn't really recommend just sticking around up here. Usually I'll drop down to this box. If I don't see anyone peek me immediately, then I'll drop down here. I'll throw a flash and I'll fight, or call for a flash if you're not playing Phoenix. That's one of the best ways I've found to play from rafters. Now, if we're playing in mail and we're trying to hold mail from rafters, there's a couple ways you can do it. Usually what I'll do is I'll show some presence here. If I see somebody run up, I will call that I'm about to flash with my teammate. And once they're into here, I'll flash, I'll re-clear. If nobody's up, I can molly like this. And if I think there's somebody to the right, I can throw my flash to the left and then re-clear heaven and regain that control and usually find a pick in the process. Yes, you can go up and down on the rope, but at higher ranks, you will get punished a lot more for it. So I don't really recommend it, like spamming it. You can do it like once, maybe twice. But after that point, if you're playing anything above diamond, fall off the angle, go to site, play safe. Do not keep going on this rope because you will end up dying usually. If you have like a judge or something, you can kind of do it like this. Usually what I'll see players with a judge do is they'll go up and down like this, and then they'll wait a little bit for them to get closer. Give it like 5-6 seconds to throw off timing, and then they'll go up again. And if they don't get anybody, they can play in this position down here. This position, by the way, very, very strong. A lot of players don't clear it right away because they're worried about sight and whatnot. So they'll kind of just run out looking at sight, and you can get one, and then you can kind of move and get a little bit like this under, and then you can get support from teammates. If you want to get aggressive, you can throw a flash like this, flash up, and try and clear that, but it is a bit dangerous because it takes a little while to get up the rope. Now, moving on, we also have this position over here. This one's pretty good if you want to go for some cheesy shots on some players playing up here. You can usually catch one or two off guard. It's just the shot is a little bit difficult to like hold because usually when they're going into mail, they are going to be sprinting and they're going to sprint to this angle here. So usually you won't get cleared, but it is a lot harder to hit this shot on sprinting players, so just be aware of that. Usually once you get spotted in this position, it's not great to continue fighting. You might want to fall off to sight and play this box. If there's nobody coming out, then this box is amazing. This box, if they have mail control and you have somebody on site kind of holding B main, this box here is an amazing position for anyone with flashes. Anyone that has flashes can play this position super, super well. And it's very strong because it's a headshot angle and you're going to see their entire body. You can go for sprays, you can go for taps, you can tuck behind the box, throw a flash, re-clear, and then also flash around this box and try and fight down in this area as well. So it is very, very strong if they have mail control and heaven control and you have no way to fight against it from like rafters and whatnot. Let's say that your teammate left here, right? Now, if we're going to be holding mid, you can go for aggro plays off the start and start to like throw a molly down if this is clear and start to clear this area out like this. You can do that, but we're not going to talk about that. We'll have a separate video for mid play in general. So Sage Wall will generally go here, but if you are having a very, very hard time holding this mid control, please, Sage, if you are watching this, like any Sage players, if you're watching this, start walling up here and play around your slows with your other player here. Because if Sage walls up here, is a very hard time for them to get through this wall. You can throw a slow here, I can flash here, and we can fight together and just kill any of the players going through the slows. We can chain slows, chain mollies. So much can be done with this wall up here if you are having a really hard time holding mid. The only downside, obviously, is that you are giving them mid. So this is only to be done if there's like no way you guys can hold mid. If you've tried like everything, you're not able to win mid and you're losing rounds because of it, start walling up top here and you might see a change and it might turn some games around. There have been so many games where we've lost like 5 or 6 rounds in a row on CT side, and then we start walling up here and we start winning because we're playing together and it's actually working out well. We're not feeding them and it's just working so much better. So that's a good way to play it. If you have this wall down here though, and you know that they're coming up into mail, toss a slow like this. Generally, you will have a slow or a raise nade, and you can combine that with some sort of flash, Phoenix flash, Sky flash, KO flash, any flash in the game, and you can just get free kills with the slow or the raise nade combination up in this position. I don't recommend tucking in this corner, but if you have a teammate that's like really supportive and helping you like fight for this, then you can tuck in this corner. You can play around your flashes. You can kind of fight for it. But I recommend after you're spotted in this corner, if you have a way to get out of it, try and get out of it because it's a very dangerous position to play. If they play it right, they will kill you, but they don't always play it right. That's why you see this position working so much, because a lot of teams don't counter this properly. If you have the right util, you can counter this out. You can molly this by just banking it off of this right here, right? Like if I was Phoenix and I wanted to deal with that, I could just toss a molly. He's forced out of this angle. If you have a raised nade, you can force people out of this angle. It's just not a very good position to play unless you have some way to get out of it easily and for free. But if you have that escape route, like I was saying earlier, this is a very good position to play in. Now, if you're playing CT, you can't really get too much done from this position because generally you will get smoked off. And it's kind of a horrible idea to flash through it and try and take a fight here. It almost never works because there will usually be some rat just sitting here, just like waiting. So I don't really recommend flashing out of this because someone will generally be anti. You don't know the timing perfectly to throw the flash and go through that someone won't be like crossing out of mail and whatnot. So I don't recommend it as much. What I usually will recommend is before the smoke goes down, throw a flash, fight with your Rafters player if you have a Rafters player. If you don't have any flashes, call for your Rafters player to take some attention. Maybe they can jiggle it and you can kind of fight with them, right? So that's one way you can play there. And it's pretty strong for the most part. Split is very good if you combine your util. So you need good util coordination in order to play this area well. That's like one of the main things about playing Split effectively is coordinating your util and setting up like little micro traps for the enemy to walk into through the use of slows, mollies, slows, nades, slows, flashes, or just like trips and flashes, any kind of info util with a flashing util and then using your player advantage or just players in general to kind of fight for that zone. So there's a lot of ways you can get things done on Split. It is a very fun map in my opinion when you play it right, but it's only when you play it right. So that's kind of how you hold down the B site. It's pretty easy for the most part. I see a lot of players struggling with holding the B site against a B push. You shouldn't really be losing B pushes unless they have a lot of ultimates and you kind of have to give it up for free. B site is a pretty easy place to hold. Granted, you know what you're doing with your utility. As long as you're using your smokes to smoke this off and to smoke off heaven properly, then you shouldn't be losing it nearly as much as I see people losing it in matchmaking games. So yeah, that's pretty much all I wanted to talk about. I'm kind of just testing the waters with this video and seeing how people feel about it. If you think I needed to go more in depth on characters outside of Phoenix, like let me know. Because I'm used to playing Phoenix the most, so it is a little bit hard for me to get out of that mindset. But if you think I did like a good job explaining it, then let me know. If there's anything you want me to go in depth more on, like any questions you have, I can answer in the comments, or anything you want me to do better or differently in the next video, just let me know because I'm trying to improve my coaching style and the way I kind of bring my ideas across. But the next video will probably be like fighting for mid on Split and kind of different things you can do to coordinate with your team to kind of take that space, right? So yeah. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. I will see you in the next one.